Hello, students. Welcome back to your history class. So we started the factors affecting social and economic relations. So although the members of the first two orders, they were very happy with the social system, okay, and they were very happy with the way the system was working. But there were actually many processes that were transforming the system. Some processes, like the changes in the environment, they were very gradual and they were very slow. While the others, there were also very dramatic changes that were taking place. Okay, especially in the agricultural technology and in the land use. All these changes, okay, they had an effect on the social and economic ties, especially between the land and the vassals. So we are going to look at these processes in detail. First is the environmental process. Now, from the 5th to 10th century, most of the Europe, it was covered with vast forests. And so the land that was available for agriculture, it was very, very limited. Also, the peasants, they were dissatisfied. They were not happy with the condition. And they wanted to flee away from from the oppression that they were facing. And they wanted to go and settle into the forest. They wanted to take refuge in the forest. So basically, Europe was undergoing. So basically, one was the land was less. Number two was peasants were not happy with the conditions, so they wanted to run away. Number three, Europe was undergoing an intensely cold climatic spell in this period. It was so this led to severe and prolonged winters. Okay, and it shortened the growing season for crops because we all know crops will not grow in winters. In heavy winters, in snow-laden areas, we don't see crops growing. So in Europe in those days, it was an intensely cold climate, and because of that, the crop growing season was shortened. Okay, and because the season was shortened, what happened? The produce was also less. So there was reduced yields from agriculture. So now this was between 5th to 10th century. Now what happened from 11th century? Europe entered a warm phase. Okay, so the average temperatures increased, and this had a great effect, profound effect on the agriculture. Now peasants had a longer growing season, and they had good soil. They had because of less frost. Okay, and they could the soil was better, and it could also be easily plowed. Environmental historians have noted that there was a significant receding of the forest line in many parts of Europe. So environmental historians, they have also specially noted down that there was a significant receding of the forest line in many parts of Europe. This made expansion of the area under cultivation possible. So because of this change in the environment, there was uh, receding in the forest line. That means people started to clear the forest to to create agricultural plots, especially in many parts of Europe. And this meant that expansion of the area under cultivation happened. So now, from the limited agricultural land available, now there was an expansion of land taking place. So these were all the environmental changes that took place. The next change that took place was land use. Now, initially, agricultural technology was very primitive. Okay, it was not technologically forward. It was very primitive. Okay, the only mechanical aid available to the peasant was a wooden plow. So they would just use a wooden plow. Okay, and this plow was driven by a team. That means two people of oxen. This plow could, at best, what it could do was it could scratch the surface of earth. Okay, only scratch, and it was unable to fully draw out the natural productivity of soil. That means it was not utilizing the soil correctly. So agriculture was a very labor intensive job. Okay, it had to be dug by hand every 4 years because the ox would only scratch the surface, nothing major was happening. it was not able to draw out the entire natural productivity of the land. And so fields had to be dug by hand once every 4 years. And this meant lots of enormous manual labor. Okay, so this meant lots and lots of manual labor had to be done. Now, ineffective method of crop rotation was in use. That means how crop rotation used to happen was the land was divided into half. One field was planted in autumn and winter with wheat, and the other field was left fallow. That means it was left empty. Okay. And next year, okay, it was like rye was planted on this empty piece of land next year, and that time the other half was put empty. So look at this crop rotation. So you, let's say you have 100 acre of land. So you are actually growing only on 50 acre of land for 1 year, and the other 50 you're just leaving it fallow, means empty. Nothing is happening. Next year you are sowing on those other 50 acres, and this 50 acres is going to remain empty. So of course, even if crop rotation was really being used, it wasn't being completely utilized. The land was not being completely utilized. So the soil slowly started to deteriorate, and famines were not uncommon. Chronic malnutrition alternated with devastating famine, and life was difficult for the poor. So what happened is all this led, famine was anyways very common at those days, but with this kind of agriculture, the soil started to lose its productivity. And so because famines were anyways very common, there became a general state of chronic malnutrition. And all this added up to making the life very, very difficult, especially for the poor people. Beyond these hardships, okay, even after these hardships, yeah, even after these hardships, now the lords wanted to maximize their income. They already the poor were living in such hard conditions, but these lords, they were very greedy. Right now also we have always learned or heard stories about greedy and very unjust landlords. So even in those days, there were many landlords who were very anxious. They were looking forward to every way to maximize their income, and it was not possible to increase the output from the land. So the peasants were forced to bring under cultivation all the land in the manorial estate. So what happened is somehow they did not realize that the crop rotation that they were using was the main reason that the land was not producing enough and the soil fertility was going below. So instead of actually focusing on the actual problem area, what did they started to do is they started to bring more land under cultivation. So all the land that was given in the manorial area, they wanted to bring all of it under cultivation. So these peasants, they were forced to bring more land under cultivation in the manorial estate. And they had to spend more time doing this than they were actually legally bound to. So remember I told you initially that these peasants, they had to work 3 days in the lord's farm. But actually, they used to work much more. Okay. And this is because these people were very greedy. They did not want to, the piece of land that was given to them for agriculture, they wanted to increase it. They were like, no, no, increase more land so that we get more produce. More produce means more income. And so to meet all these needs, the peasants used to work harder, and they used to work for more than what was legally uh, said. More than they were legally bound to, they started to work even more than that. The peasants did not bow down quietly to oppression. Since they could not protest openly, they resorted to passive resistance. That means they spent more time cultivating their own fields, and they kept much of the produce of that labor all for themselves. This also this also avoided performing unpaid extra services. They came into conflict with the lords over pasture and forest lands, and they saw that these lands are resources to be used by the whole community. Now, forest lands, of course, nobody owns them. The manor was, ownership of the lord, but the land that was outside was not their land. So they came into an argument over there that this pasture land and this forest land, they are the resources of the whole community. They are not your resources. They told the Lord, these are not your resources. And the Lord started to treat those lands also as private property. Okay. So, for example, there was a lord who had a nice big manorial estate, and then he would send his cattle, suppose, to a pasture land which is just adjoining him, like very close to him. So he suddenly started to show dominance over that piece of land. He started to show proprietorship. He said, okay, now even that piece of land belongs to me because my cattle go and graze there. And this did not go down well with the peasants because the peasants were very firm that this land does not belong to you. Your cattle may come and graze here, but this land belongs to the community. So this was one area where they were in conflict with each other. Okay. Okay. Next factor that affected the social and economic relation was the agricultural technology. Now, by 11th century, there is evidence that lots of technological changes had taken place. So now, instead of the wooden plows, the cultivators, they began using heavy iron-tipped plows and mold boards. These plows could dig much deeper, and the mold boards turned the topsoil properly. With this, the nutrients from the soil were better utilized. So up till now, we had wooden plows and they were barely scratching the surface of the land. Now what happened? They got iron tipped plows. So what happened is they could dig more deeper into the land. And they also got mold boards. Mold boards, what did they do is they took the top soil and they completely reversed it. They were able to completely transfer the topsoil. Okay. Now these methods of harnessing the animals to the plow, it improved. So now instead of neck harnesses, shoulder harnesses started to come in use. And this enables the animals to exert more pressure and more power. Okay. Horses were now better shod with iron horse shoes, which prevented the foot decay. So they even found that, the horses' legs, they were often, because they kept moving all the time, often got hurt, they got wounded. So to protect it, they came up with horseshoe. Okay. To protect the horse's shoe, they came up with iron horse shoes. There was an increased use of wind and water energy for agriculture. So wind and water energy was also taken and that was also applied to agriculture. More water powered and wind powered mills were set up all over Europe, especially for milling corn and for pressing grapes. So another technological change that took place was wind and power energies had found a new way. They had found a new way to channelize it and produce better results. So now there was also a difference in the, there was also a change in the pattern of land use. One of the most revolutionary one would be the switch from a 2-field to a 3-field system. Now, the peasants could use a field 2 years out of 3 if they planted it with one crop in autumn and different crops in spring and half a later. That meant that the farmer could break their holdings into 3 fields. So up till now, they were growing 2 crops. Remember, one part was blank and one part was being. So now they, instead of doing 2, they divided it into 3. So now they could grow 3 crops through the entire year. They planted one with wheat or rye in autumn. That was for human consumption. The second they used to plant in spring, and they would raise peas, beans, or lentils for again human use. Okay, they could also have oats and barley, that was for the horses. Okay, and the third field was left fallow, and each year they rotated the use among these three fields. Okay, so what happened is third field was at the moment empty. They had kept it empty. But slowly, slowly, whatever was required besides these two was grown in the third field. With these improvements, there was an almost immediate increase in the amount of food produced from each unit of land. Food availability doubled. Food availability doubled. And the greater use of plants like peas and beans meant more vegetable protein in the diet of the average European and a better sale source of fodder for the animals. For cultivators, it meant better opportunities. They could now produce more food from less land. The average size of a peasant's farm shrank from 100 acres to 20 to 30 acres by 13th century. Holdings which were smaller could not be efficiently cultivated, and it reduced the amount of labor needed. This gave farmers, this gave peasants an opportunity to spend time on other activities. Okay, so now average size of land had decreased, and so less land required less labor, and so because of less labor, peasants had more time in their hand, and they decided to use it in many other activities. Some of these technological changes cost a lot of money. Peasants did not have enough money to set up water mills and windmills. Therefore, the initiative was taken by the lords. But the peasants, they were able to take, but the peasants who were able to take the initiative in many things, such as extending arable land, they were also switched to three field rotation crops and set up small forges and smithies in the villages where the iron tipped plows and horseshoes were made, and they were repaired very cheaply. From 11th century, the personal bonds of the that had been basics of feudalism were weakening because economic transactions were becoming more and more. The money-based lord found it convenient to ask for rent in cash and not service. The cultivators were selling their crops for money to traders who would then take such goods and sell them into the towns. The increasing use of money began to influence prices, which became higher in times of the poor harvest. In England, the agriculture prices doubled between 1270 and 1320. These are the wooden plows. So for this class, I want you all to uh, make notes on the factors affecting social and economic relations with pictures. So the first one was environment. Any one or more environmental change picture you will put and write down the uh, text in point form. Next to it, you will do land use, how the land use has changed, and finally the agricultural technology. So this is the difference between wooden plow, and then you have this is iron tipped wooden plow, like you can see, and the second one is the mold board. That means the topsoil was being reversed. Okay. So next class we will look at the fourth order. Till then, stay home, stay safe, take care, and keep learning. Thank you.